Welcome to the Taking the Lead podcast, where we empower people to be unstoppable. I'm Christina Hepner with my co-hosts Leslie Hoskins and Timothy Cuneo. We've been doing this now for 3.5 years, and we realized we haven't reintroduced ourselves in quite a long time. I don't think since our first episode. So we thought we'd take today at our 3.5 years and kind of share who we are and why we're here and talk more about Timothy's story as well.
It's crazy. Been doing this for 3.5 years, ain't it? Wow.
Time has certainly gone by fast, and we're so delighted to have all of our new listeners. And this is a great opportunity to just share a little bit more about who we are, why we're passionate about Leader Dog, and kind of what we do at the organization. And then, of course, we'll get to the main story, which is always Timothy.
Absolutely.
To share his journey and kind of in a life update.
Yeah. So, Leslie, let's start with you.
All right. So, Leslie Hoskins, I am a certified orientation and mobility specialist. So again, I went to school to learn how to help people who are blind or low vision travel independently with the long white cane. I am also now the outreach services and community engagement manager. And so for me, it's the perfect job. I absolutely love it. But to give you a little bit of history, I like to say in January of 2013 at Leader Dogs for the Blind, where I was honored to come to Leader Dog for my practicum experience. I worked with some fantastic O&M specialists, Lynn Gautreaux and Barry Stafford. You hear me mention all the time, but they are some true mentors in the field, and they were really the first ones to kind of open my world up into a world of O&M and outside of the box thinking and individualized learning and all sorts of wonderful things. So that's how I originally started. I fell in love with the organization and seeing the impact that we have on people's lives. I was fortunate to come back again in the summer of 2013 for my internship, where I lived on campus for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very long time, but it was such a great opportunity to really dive into the world of blindness, as we say on the podcast, and get to know the organization and see how everything works and the impact of what we do and really changing people's lives. And so, again, falling more and more in love with Leader Dog, I was fortunate to come back and start as a full-time O&M specialist in March of 2014. From there, I have worked as an O&M specialist for the first 6 years, teaching people how to travel with the long white cane. I also had the opportunity to run the teen summer camp for those years.
Yes, we know she talks about that quite often.
You know, I love to share about teen summer camp, but that is a true passion of mine. So I was honored to get to do that for 6 years and be a big piece of that. And then in January of 2020, I got the opportunity to be the outreach manager. So it was a hard time to go into outreach in 2020, as you all can imagine. But I feel like this job was created specifically for me. I get to do everything that I love. I still get to teach and work with clients one-on-one, but I also get to introduce people to Leader Dog. I get to go out into the community. I get to talk to other professionals. I get to talk to potential clients and really share what we do at Leader Dog and how we do it. So it is a great honor of mine and a true passion. And that is kind of me at Leader Dog.
Yeah.
I absolutely love what I do. And I've been in this role now for 5 years and looking forward to all the things that we continue to grow and expand on.
Yes. And I have learned so much from Leslie in my time at Leader Dog. And so I'll share about myself next because we save the best for last.
Always.
Timothy.
Yeah, whatever.
So I'm Christina Hepner, and I like to say I started at Leader Dog with this podcast.
Yeah, true.
So I am coming up on my 4 years. So when I came here, we really started the podcast. I have a background in broadcast. So I actually started my career in broadcast journalism. I've lived all over the Midwest as a reporter, an anchor, and a producer. So that was kind of the first career that I ever had. So the first 6 years of my life was being out in the field, being behind that anchor desk. So if you watch the news, that's what I was doing for the first big portion of my career. And then I decided, you know what? I wanted to move back home. So I'm originally from the Metro Detroit area. And so I moved back home, and I thought maybe I'd stay for, a few months and then go back out and do the journalism thing. But I actually found a job in city government. So I ended up in city government for about 1.5 years and was feeling like I wanted something different. I wanted a new challenge. And so I actually found my job on LinkedIn. So I 4 years ago now, I was, kind of just looking on LinkedIn, saw a job posting at Leader Dogs for the Blind, and I applied and I got it. So I don't have kind of that typical story where people kind of fall into it, or they like have someone that they know or go into the field of it. I actually did not go into the
kind
field.
of on a whim. We're lucky we have you.
Yeah.
On a whim. So started here about 4 years ago. And when I started having the broadcast journalism background, was pulled into, hey, we want to start this podcast. And so that was one of my first big projects. That first 6 months was really building out that podcast. I did not know Leslie or Timothy. I did not know what orientation and mobility was. I did not know what a guide dog actually did. I knew it was a service dog, but I didn't know exactly what it was. So I came on this podcast being that person who's asking those questions that you might want to also ask. And I continue to do that because I remember how I was when I first started, was just taking in all the knowledge and information. And I've grown to be really passionate about it. I work in the marketing department and I do client interviews. I do a ton of things and I get to see the impact day in and day out and get to meet so many people. So I never imagined 4 years ago when I started that I'd meet so many people and have so many different connections and also be raising a future leader dog.
Yeah, you really jumped in.
So it's just been such a journey and I can't believe where I started is where I am at now. So this podcast has been great. And I didn't know Timothy. We didn't meet, I think,
never met you.
For about a year in person. So when we first recorded those first few podcasts, Leslie and Timothy were pretty much strangers to me. And so we've grown to have such a great friendship and it's wonderful. So I'm glad to be here. And that's a little bit about my background. It's totally different than Leslie and Timothy's.
I love to talk about when Christina first started too, because Christina and I we still share an office, but we shared an office the very first day as well. So we've been together the entire time. But yeah, didn't know each other at all. And then we had a tiny little, it was like a closet office.
We shared one desk. We had one desk that we shared and she sat on one side and I sat on the other.
So it was a really good thing that we got along quickly. And we have become really great friends. And then Timothy, I always love to talk about too. The first podcast we did record, the three of us hopped on a Zoom. And again, Christina and Timothy not really knowing each other, I think communicating via email maybe a couple times.
Yeah, I had to act like I liked her. So.
Yes. And luckily, Timothy and I had worked together, so we knew each other well and had formed a friendship. And the three of us really got on a Zoom and kind of tested out the chemistry and it's been fun ever since.
Yeah. I feel like I was just faking it. When we first started, I was like, I'm acting like I know these people really well and I don't know them at all.
It was fun.
I mean, maybe I still am. I'm just kidding.
Oh gosh, Timothy. Should we be worried?
I'm just kidding. No, it's because you guys pick on me all the time.
Well, that means we like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Timothy and I go way back.
Yeah.
Way back. But Timothy, it is the star of the show.
Yeah, whatever.
We want to focus on you. I don't even know where you want to start, but we'd love to hear your journey.
Yes.
Well, my name's Timothy Cuneo. I live in the state of Georgia. I'm the visually impaired person here. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosus when I was 12. What retinitis pigmentosis is, the retina is basically dying. The cones and the rods are dying. So I have night blindness. I got about 2% of vision in my right eye. Went through high school, was able to graduate, got a job in the optical business, did that for a while, which is crazy for a blind guy. Guys going blind working in the optical business.
Yeah, you don't hear that often, do you?
No, that's pretty rare. Got married, got kids, got grandkids. I'm a grandpa. Had to retire when I was about 38 years old. And then my journey of depression started kicking in, and luckily I found Leader Dog. Met Leslie in 2018 of March on my wedding anniversary day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was my anniversary week when I met you.
Oh,
wow.
What a great week that's always been for you.
Yeah.
Well, I was a pretty rough person, so for my wife, I went ahead and got up there and tried to fix myself.
Yeah.
And so that's where my journey started. Been doing this. I got a guide dog about 5 months later. Her name is Glacier. She's been working really hard for the past almost 6 years now. It'll be coming up this August. And we travel all over the country on behalf of Leader Dog and sometimes on my personal trips. We talk to Lions clubs. We go to conventions. We go to do dinner in the darks. And I love being around the lions. And sometimes I get to go on a cruise with my dog, which we've done 2 or 3 times. And we plan another one next September. Not this September, but the following September. We're going to Alaska. So, I'm traveling a lot and enjoying myself, enjoying life again. And it's going back to Leader Dog took me out of the depression that I was in because I was feeling like a 12-year-old child because I had to ask, can you take me to the doctor? That didn't have that independence, and I was losing it. And now I've got my independence. I can do anything.
Yeah. Timothy, can you talk about how you found Leader Dog and kind of that journey of, accepting and coming to Leader Dog for services?
Well, I was going, like I said, through a depression at the time where I was having bad thoughts. I don't have to describe it any worse than that.
Yeah.
But I went down to the National Federation of the Blind Convention in 2018, and so happened that was the first trip I ever used that white cane, and it was terrible. It was terrible.
Timothy, it's like daggers through the heart.
Yes. So I ran into Meredith McBride, who ended up being my GDMI, guide dog mobility instructor. And she looked at me and said, have you ever thought about getting a guide dog? And I looked at Meredith. I said, I don't know how to use this thing, let alone get a guide dog. And she said, well, we can fix that. And she gave me that application. And I filled that application out about 6 months later and got accepted to Leader Dog. And that's how I met Leader Dog. Thank God I went to Leader Dog because at that time, Leader Dog was the only organization in the country that was doing the O&M instruction.
Yeah. So what was it like for you kind of getting to that convention? So what made you decide to finally go and see what was out there for services? Because I know a lot of people go through what you're just talked about going through.
Well, I couldn't get any services from the state of Georgia because I was too old. I was told I couldn't work because of my age, so nobody would hire me, and they could not get back the tax revenue back out of me. So basically, they slammed the door in my face. And so I found the National Federation of the Blind chapter on the other side of the county over here. And it was getting so bad that I didn't want to be around out in public anymore. I hated that cane. I really did. It made me look vulnerable. People gave me pity, and I just didn't like the looks of it. But my psychological at that time was I was depressed, and I wanted to go and see if I can go somewhere and find some help. And luckily, I went to that convention, and that's when I ran into Leader Dog. And so, if it weren't for Leader Dog, I don't know where I'd be right now.
And you mentioned, Timothy, so I don't know if I knew this part of the story. So you got the application, and then you took 6 months to fill it out. What was that 6 months like of kind of making that determination that you did want to come to Leader Dog?
Well, I went back in that depression.
Yeah.
And I didn't fix myself. I went down there and wasted a week of not doing what I needed to do for myself. It's hard to accept your blindness. And once you reach out to somebody, finally you're reaching and say, hey, there's something wrong. I need help. And until you get to that point, I couldn't get to that point. I had to accept it, that I'm going blind. And once I got there, that's it. It's been history since.
I'm so glad that you came to Leader Dog. I'm so glad you ran into that table in Meredith Bride and that you filled out the application and that you came to Leader Dog for that week of orientation and mobility. How would you say, that week changed things for you? Because you are a different person, right? When I met you in 2018, you are a very different person than you were then. Can you talk about the impact of that week?
Well, the impact of I went from somebody who didn't know how to use that cane to somebody who I have night blindness. I've never walked in the dark by myself. And so we started off in small baby steps, working down the hallway, going down steps. And then we started getting further and further out from the complex there. And then that Thursday night when Leslie goes, hey, we're going to do a night walk, I looked at her and go, what? And I did that walk. And it was so impactful. Leslie, you remember I cried on you. I never done anything like that in my life. And I knew then if I just used the tools that Leslie was teaching me, I would be okay. And it was just empowering knowing that I can do anything. I got home a week later and my wife and I went to the mall. And I said, watch this. And I just was going out there and doing stuff that normally I'd had to hang on to her and step on her feet and hurt her and stuff like that. And no, I no longer do that anymore. it gives me the power to do what I need to do. And then going back and getting Glacier, oh my gosh. I mean, I know Leslie loves the cane.
Yes.
But there's a difference between a cane and a dog.
Yeah.
Cane, you have to tap your way around stuff, where the dog just takes you around it. You don't even if it's there.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit quicker. And a lot of people use a cane and don't want a dog, which is great. But personally for me, I love the guide dog.
Yeah. And so, Timothy, what was that like? You were here at Leader Dog for a week. You went home and you tested your skills. When did you decide that you wanted to come back to get a guide dog?
Well, after that night walk, the next day, they let me try out one of their dogs. And I tried it, and I said, okay, I want to take this dog home now. Where's the pink slip? They wouldn't give me the pink slip. So, like I said, they tell you to wait about 30 days to fill out the application. I waited about 20 and filled it out. And I knew then when I was there at the O&M, I saw what the dogs were doing with the clients that were there. They were just finishing up back then they went there for 4 weeks, 28 days. That was the last group I think that did 28 days. And I just saw what those dogs did. And I said, man, that looks pretty good. I'd like to try that. And I did.
And can you speak to like the sense of community too? Because one of the things we try to do is encourage clients to come to campus if they're able. There are many situations where in-home is appropriate, but coming to campus is really that opportunity to connect with other people as well, especially if you don't have, that kind of support or network of other people kind of going through similar things. Was that something that was important to you or that had an impact on your life?
It had an impact. I still have a couple of people I still stay in contact from my class. Me personally, I like going to Leader Dog because the stress of the world goes away, and you can focus on you and the dog, or you or the cane, and just the distractions of being at home. For me, so it's just me. I get to focus on me for 3 weeks. The people I met, and you're there with people who is just like you, just got there a different way. And it's impactful to be around people just like me. I felt normal for the first time in my life, and because everything at Leader Dog is set up for people like us, and they care so much about us. The focus is on us and the dog or the cane, and it's just you get to relax a little bit for the week or the 3 weeks and just do what you need to do, and that's impactful in my life.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Timothy, for always being so open and vulnerable and sharing your story. I think I know for a fact it helps people, feel like they're not alone, right? You are such a mentor and a friend to so many people. And we're often, reaching out and saying, hey, can I connect somebody with you? I know I reached out, like a week ago, there was a client who's going on a cruise and had a whole bunch of questions. I was like, you know what? Talk to Timothy, because Timothy's done it, seems like a million times. So thank you for being such a good resource for everybody and really just being able to share your story.
Well, that's what I'm here for. I feel like I don't help enough people. And if I help one person, it's great. But if I get 100 people I help, I still don't think I do enough. And because I know there's another Timothy out there was struggling with everything. And if I got the knowledge to help them, I want to share that as much as possible just to make life easier so they don't have to go through what I went through. I don't want nobody to go through what I went through.
And really a lot of, because of your story, right, and hearing how you weren't able to get services through the state is a story we hear very regularly. And it has really empowered us as team members and clients, right, to go and talk to these state agencies and other organizations and really try to partner and work together, because nobody wants to deny anybody of services, right? The people who work at state agencies or other organizations, they always want to help people. But unfortunately, they have a lot more rules and regulations that they have to follow, right? Because they're receiving state or federal income or money from insurance companies, which Leader Dog does not receive any of. So we're always very fortunate that we have flexibility on who we can serve and how we can serve. And because of stories like yours, Timothy, we've been going to the National Council of State Agencies for the Blind conferences. We travel all over the place. Anytime somebody is traveling, we try to pop into those agencies and say, hey, we're a resource. We want to partner. We want to work together. If you have somebody that you can't serve, send them our way. Typically, we can help. Or, hey, maybe you're working with somebody and they only have 10 hours of O&M. Well, maybe send them to us first. We can build up those skills because our week of O&M ends up being anywhere between 25 and 35 hours of instruction. Then they can go back home in their home environment and use those 10 hours to work on purposeful routes in their area. So your story has been incredibly impactful for so many reasons, but that also being one of them, of like us realizing, hey, we need to reach out. We need to be a resource for these other organizations or agencies so that we can all collectively work together for the bigger mission, right? We want people who are blind or low vision to travel independently, whether that be with a guide dog or a long white cane. So you've been a huge part of that. And your story, like you said, is very similar to so many other clients. And what you do, sharing it not only with clients and on this podcast, but you also do a lot of work with the Lions Club. And I know you've talked about it briefly, but do you want to share some of the work that you do specifically with the Lions?
Well, what I do, they contact the Alliance Engagement group up there at Leader Dog, and they look for a speaker because they're either doing a dinner in the dark, or they're doing a fundraiser, or there's a convention that needs to be done. And so what I do, I fly out there. I get to fill out the stuff for the airlines, and I go out there and I spend either 2 or 3 days, depends on how big the convention is, and I show them the dog. I'm one of those people that's active. When I go to a convention, I'm out there from 7 o'clock in the morning to midnight. I want them to see the dog working. I want to show the Lions the investment that they make into Leader Dog. And I believe if they see the dog working constantly and see what I'm able to do with that dog, that makes them impressed with Leader Dog and what they're supporting. And so I just do my convention. I do the speeches. I love doing the dinner in the darks because I get to eat for one thing. And we do a blindfold during a dinner in the dark. You do the blindfold, and people get to experience what it's like to be visually impaired. And when we're done with that, I kind of show them what I see. I have them cover their left eye, then I tell them to take their right hand and make about the size of a dime in it and put that over the right eye. And that's about what my vision is like, with some blurriness in there too. And I say for a minute, put your feet in my shoes. What could you go to the bathroom? Could you go to your hotel room? Could you do this? Could you do that? And that just brings reality to them, and they see, and they can sympathize with us. And they just do so much for Leader Dog, and they do stuff for clients too, because sometimes they go out and film the clients and stuff like that. So I'm aligned myself now. So I'm attached to them at the hip, just like I am attached to Leader Dog. And so I enjoy being around the Lions because I like to give back to my community also. So Cheryl and I joined the Lions here recently.
That's awesome. And I love that you're trying to explain your vision to somebody else so they can build that empathy and understanding. Because what we don't want is people to really feel sorry for people who are blind or low vision, or say things like, I could never, or I can't imagine, or those types of things. What we want people to see is how people who are blind or low vision are the same as everybody else. They might just use different tools, right? Different techniques for things. So you do a wonderful job of explaining that, and then showing and demonstrating people who are blind or low vision absolutely live independent lives. They have jobs, they go to work, they volunteer, they travel, they do all of the things just like everybody else, maybe just using different tools or tips or techniques. And so I love that the Lions Club does a great job of really educating and advocating for people who are blind or low vision. And you do such a great job of that, explaining your experience so other people can get an idea and understanding. And it's one of my favorite things I think that I get to do at Leader Dog too, is that advocacy piece and that education piece of just telling people, the resources or the technology or all the different things that are available, but most importantly, getting to hear your story and other stories like yours, and really seeing you live an independent life.
Yeah, now I get to show off my Meta sunglasses with
Yes.
me, and they are all blown away at how technology has changed everything.
Yeah. Timothy, talk about the Meta glasses real quick, just briefly, of what they are.
The Ray-Ban Meta, they attach to your Instagram or your Facebook. You gotta have one of those two accounts to get it to work. It is artificial intelligence. It reads my letters to me now. I can go and finally read my own menu when I go to a restaurant. It gets really specific. Like if I ask what kind of burger this is, it tells me the description of the burger and everything. I've been on flights where I've to Dallas here recently, I didn't get any assistance to my connecting gate down to El Paso. So I turned on my camera to WhatsApp, and Cheryl got me to my gate because the camera turned on. And so she got me to my gate, because my flight was leaving in 45 minutes. I had to get over there.
So that's just a little sneak peek. Yeah.
Sneak peek. We don't want to talk much about it because I think we're going to have a future episode.
Yes.
Yes, that is incredible and so exciting. And it's like an affordable technology, which is so, so exciting because a lot of things in the blindness and low vision are really expensive.
I can't believe how much stuff costs.
Yeah.
I really can't. It's just, I think the Google glasses are $4,000 to $5,000. And who's got that money just laying around?
It's nuts. It's nuts. So thank you so much, Timothy. This has been so wonderful, I think, to reshare your story. We have a lot of new listeners like we talked about. So it's a great opportunity to reintroduce ourselves. And hopefully all listeners will stay tuned in and keep the Leader Dog story going. But thank you, Timothy.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed doing the podcast. It's fun to do this, and I really enjoy the work I'm doing with the Lions, and it's been a pleasure meeting both of you. Leslie, you impacted my life, and even knowing Christina's impacted my life a little bit.
Thanks.
Timothy used to always tease Meredith and I, because I was Timothy's O&M specialist, and then Meredith was his guide dog mobility instructor. So he'd say that he was the rose between two thorns, and Meredith and I are on his shoulders there.
Yeah, on the shoulders, because I use my cane in my right hand, and my dog's on my left side. And you asked, well, where's the angel? And I said, in the middle. So
okay, that's what it was.
That's it. So
I see.
Yeah.
Well, somehow Meredith and I got the short end of that stick.
Yeah, but both of you have impacted my life so much. You guys don't understand. We will always be connected some way. I might come back one day and get a refresher on my O&M, or I will be getting a new guide dog. But the first people to open the doors for you always stay in your heart.
Well, thank you. And I love you too, Timothy. We've become great friends, and you have become such a huge piece of Leader Dog. And really the history of Leader Dog. This podcast is a big thing for Leader Dog, and who knows where it'll go and take off in the years to come. But it's been an absolute honor to be the original host with Christina and you, and hopefully we've got a little bit longer of a run with us, but it's a lot of fun. So thank you to both of you. And thank you so much to our listeners for listening to the Taking the Lead podcast. I'm Leslie Hoskins with hosts Timothy Cunio and Christina Hebner. We hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about us this episode. And we hope that you join us next time as we continue to dive into the world of blindness.
And if you'd like to learn more about applying to our free services at Leader Dog, you can head to leaderdog.org or call us at 888-777-5332. Don't forget, you can reach us at takingthelead@leaderdog.org with any questions or ideas. If you like today's podcast, make sure to hit subscribe and check us out wherever podcasts stream.